WVUA-FM, Tuscaloosa.
Hello. Welcome back to the student section on Friday night. This is WVUA 90.7 The Capstone, and I am your host, Connor Rolls, and I'm joined with Brady Grogan and Jaylon Brooks. How are y'all doing today?
I'm sad.
I'm feeling very happy.
I'm a little sad, but we had a good season.
We did, and and all jokes aside, I'm really proud of the Eagles organization and just the players. Coming into the season, I wasn't expecting a Super Bowl run, but thank you for making this season just enjoyable. So shout out to the Birds.
To be completely honest, I was expecting a Super Bowl run.
I mean, it really depends on. I knew Jalen Hurts was going to be better, but I did not think he was going to take a step like this year, like as in terms of like MVP caliber level step. I did not see that coming. It kind of looks like I was comparing it the other day to I'm trying to think of his name though, but not Patrick Mahomes. I want to say Patrick Mahomes, but we already saw what
Josh Allen.
Yeah, so that's like just the enormous.
Yeah.
Stuff. But yeah, I'm just proud of the team.
What about you?
I mean, so when your team doesn't win, like the next best thing is predicting the team that can win, because then you can feel like a little better about yourself because you saw it coming. And I will say, I did see it coming from the preseason, week one, from every single week. I stayed true with my pick of I thought the Chiefs were the best team in football. So it feels a little nice to know that I had it right the entire season.
Yeah.
It does feel a little nice. I mean, I just think people overthink things sometimes, and Patrick Mahomes on a good team, like that team's obviously going to be so dangerous. And the fact that people were saying this team could not make the playoffs this year is honestly embarrassing as like a football analyst.
Don't look at me, Brady.
I'm looking at you, but there are high-paid professional analysts at ESPN who actually had the take.
Call them out by name.
I can't remember names, but I actually remember hearing guys who actually had the take that the Chiefs would not make the playoffs. And just as like a football, and that's just embarrassing. That's like an embarrassing statement to make.
And okay. Just to hop back on your point, like I was with you for the AFC for the Chiefs, and like I said last time when we talked last week, as much as it pained me to, was a pain to say it, if anyone you're asking to pick between Jalen Hurts or Patrick Mahomes, I think most people will take Patrick Mahomes. And I just felt like Patrick Mahomes was due for another one. But I still want the Eagles because that's my team, and I'm not going to go against them.
No, I get that. The
So,
fact that in the preseason people were saying this team could not make the playoffs, I think is just
also
absurd.
I think Travis Kelce went a little overboard with his little post-game speech, but we'll get into that later.
I will own my mistake. It was me. It was moi.
I wasn't calling just you.
The Raiders were going to win the AFC West, and the Chiefs weren't even going to make the playoffs. And that looks really bad now. I am okay with myself because I did call the Eagles Super Bowl run.
You did
so
I mean, I'm pretty sure my Super Bowl was Chiefs-Packers, so
that's not great either.
so I think I got my half right that counts.
You got the winner right.
I got the winner right. That's what I knew from the start.
But let's discuss this game. So Patrick Mahomes had a big day. He got injured early on. So did Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts had a really big day. I think he proved a lot of doubters wrong.
Oh, he did. It's crazy now. You watch ESPN, everyone's like, this is what we told you. This is what Hurts could be. Like, this is...
no one believed that.
Exactly. And so I hate when analysts on ESPN just don't own up to their predictions. But, yeah, Jalen Hurts balled out, set a Super Bowl record for most 3 scrambling touchdowns. And no
he said it? I thought he tied it.
He broke it.
He broke it? Okay.
He broke the record.
But... yeah, I remember when Jalen Hurts first got drafted, they were bashing the pick, saying how bad of a quarterback he would be because, the whole leaving. And then he can't throw.
Right.
Now all of a sudden he's throwing for 304 yards in the Super Bowl.
That dime he threw to Devontae Smith.
And A.J. Brown. And all those throws to Dallas Goedert.
He had like some absolute amazing throws while staying mobile on his feet, balancing it out, not bailing on the pocket fast, waiting on his receiver. It was
Jalen Hurts did not lose that game. I think we can all agree on that.
Oh, of course.
Jalen Hurts did not lose that game.
So I think the fumble...
they were in that game.
Yeah.
I think the fumble hurt the team, but didn't... The only fumble?
The fumble.
There's 2.
No, there only one. That wasn't a fumble.
They didn't reverse it. It was a fumble.
No.
The Miles Sanders incomplete.
It was incomplete.
I don't think they reversed.
No,
it was incomplete.
Like when he got killed.
Yeah, it was incomplete.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah.
I'm misremembering it wrong.
You get. Hurts had the fumble.
Hurts had the unprovoked fumble, and that definitely hurt us. I feel like if he didn't fumble, then
that's a touchdown.
Yeah. But also at the same point, we wouldn't without him. There's no way we're coming close.
I don't think that one play had that big
Exactly.
effect just because of how it was so early in the game, and it's weird to say, but it almost swung the momentum back in the Eagles' way for in a weird way because the Eagles drove down, scored a really long drive and had drive, and then fumbled.
He was off for 20
scored,
minutes,
and then they went down, had a really long drive, and scored again. So while it did stink to get a touchdown, obviously that time of possession stuff in that first half was why I think it felt like they were dominating so hard was because of that fumble. Because in the first half, the Eagles were on the field.
Oh, the Eagles
doubled
were
the
destroying
length
them.
of the Chiefs.
Oh, they came out. It's one of my for the past two games. You could just see it, and that's what I was waiting to see during the season because that's what kind of made me kind of nervous about the Eagles. But when you see they came out just right away, just putting up points, you could just see they had a look on their eyes that they were getting ready to just go down to business. And and honestly, that fumble kind of just sucks in general because what made it even worse is the fact that he kicked it. And that's the point where he couldn't get it back, and then his arms were being held. He couldn't dive on it. So, I mean, it's just an unfortunate turn of events, but I don't think that game really gave the game away. I mean,
didn't.
That play.
That's also the same way looking at the penalty. People say the penalty, they're the reason they lost. It wasn't.
Yeah.
Our defense couldn't stop anything. That's
really what it came
The Chiefs were perfect in the second half.
They were. Offensively, yes. Their defense was,
Yeah, I'm saying the offense
And that's
against the Eagles' defense. The Chiefs were legit. I don't care. I would have, if there was 13 seconds left on the clock and the Chiefs had the ball and they were down by one, I would put money on the Chiefs.
Yeah.
It's
it was that kind of game where it just it felt like everything was clicking on their offense.
And that's why I said last week I think that this game was going to come down to the wire. Because I think I said it's going to be a kind of similar to when the Eagles played the Patriots. I had a feeling it was going to be a shootout and barely defense played. So for some reason I just feel like when defenses in the Super Bowl, it's either you can tell what kind of game it's going to be within the first kind of seconds.
I was going to say I had this take during the game. I said with 2 weeks of game plan, does it matter how good the defense is for these offensive coaches?
I say, of course there is, but it's
I
still
feel
a lot
easier.
easier.
I feel like the defense actually it's less. We give Andy Reid 2 weeks of film to watch film on the Eagles and scheme up any we saw those 2 touchdowns where he got players wide open.
Well, that's one of those touchdowns where they weren't even in the right formation. That's why Mahomes put him in motion.
It's kind of insane to get 2 touchdowns with the players just walking wide open. I think it just shows with these offensive coaches, I kind of want to say with 2 weeks of game plan, the opposing defense doesn't really matter all that much just because of how smart and savvy these guys are at drawing up plays to get what they want in every single defense, and they have an entire season of film.
I don't want to say that entirely because I still want to give credit to defenses, but I just think it shows you how great.
I want to give them credit, of course. There's the playmakers that can make plays, but I'm more just saying you can have this great defense coming in, but it's gonna come down to just playmakers. Well, I feel like your defense can make plays and stuff, but the other team's gonna be moving the ball well. I feel
that's what I was saying. That's why I was saying exactly off that point. That's why I was saying I think more credit to Andy Reid than
that Chiefs defense. They didn't play great, but they made that play for the touchdown, and that in turn I think is a net.
Did
positive.
they really make the play though?
It's more. I don't really think they made the play. I just think that's offense.
But I mean, they forced this thing. This happened when they're on defense, and I'm saying that those are the kind of things that I think are important for defenses in these things, is being able to force turnovers in kind of weird ways and have this happen rather than being this kind of consistent.
But also,
defense.
How much of that of the defensive struggle, the Eagles' defensive struggles, can we put on the turf?
Oh,
that turf is a real talking point.
Let's get to that because that's what I was going to talk about. I was going to say, I think the field, of course, the field was horrible. Right. We can all agree on that.
We saw multiple players slip, and then
for both teams.
But more Eagles players ended up. They counted the numbers. More Eagles players slipped than Chiefs players.
So for me, I think you're going to hear both teams played on the same field, and I completely agree with that. There was no way about that. But the way the two defenses are played, it clearly affected the Eagles more than that because you look at the Chiefs, they don't rely on their pass rush all the time. Mm-hmm. They rely on
mostly
blitzes and stuff, blitzes and just being able to keep the offense in front of you, stuff like that. But the Eagles, they're all about hanging back, keeping everything in front of you, but not blitzing and just having the pass rush do it. They had 70 sacks.
Oh, season, yeah.
So, of course, the pass rush is going to be a big deal, but if everyone's slipping every time they rush the passer, it's hard to play defense like that. If that's how you play defense the entire season, you can't just switch up all of a sudden, which I think it sucks for the NFL because the NFL spent so much money on this field just to have it end like this.
And also, just like, I don't know if you guys noticed, but like Jalen Hurts is a prime example. First half, he was wearing different color, just different sneakers, or not sneakers, cleats. And in the second half, he had to change to the Jordans because they were allowing him to grip the field more, so he could scramble and run. That's why you saw him like start running a lot more in the second half. But that has to be a talking point. And then I just feel like before the games, you have to do like a check, or like someone go out there and try to run a route or something. Like I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm not making excuses for it, but I'm because it doesn't really matter for the win at this point. But I will say, I just feel like the NFL, it shouldn't come down.
Should be.
I think that there should be like a rule where like, just like I would rather see like the game played on like
grass.
Yeah, I would much rather
like nice grass, because like this is a game where like you can tear up a field. Like it's like that's not like a problem. You got nothing happening after this.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'd rather see them kind of like put it in like a nice grass. And like there's also like you get like the iconic like pictures of like the players with like the grass stuck in their helmets.
Cool.
On. Like I think like just the grass feels like
a
little more fun. Yeah, the grass stains like make it just look so much cooler. I feel like in the fourth quarter when everyone's got like battle wounds on them from like diving and that stuff.
So we're gonna move on from the field because we can all agree that was pretty bad. I mean, I was gonna talk about the holding. I mean,
we can talk about that. But it's not like
it's not the reason we lost.
Right.
That's a fact. I think it definitely was a hold. You could see he held him, but it's the fact where it's within the last minute of the game. The ball wasn't even close in the Super Bowl.
And a light.
Come on.
It's a foul, or like technically it's a flag, but that is a very.
He's not impeding his progress.
And Juju wasn't going to catch that ball.
I was gonna say because like Patrick, like I have the biggest problem with it because of how overthrown that ball.
That's what I was saying.
Juju
wasn't going to catch that ball.
Like if Patrick Mahomes puts that ball in a spot where Juju can maybe get it, then like you have to make that call. Like
right.
you really do have to make that call then. But the fact that Patrick Mahomes skied the ball and Juju was not going to be close to making a play on it, just you can't throw that flag there.
Yeah, exactly. It's too big of a situation. The risk reward's too high, and I just think the NFL. Who knows? I think if it's 3rd and 8, and they had gotten it, they would have gotten the kick, and there would have been a lot more time left. Who knows what would have happened? Maybe we got an exciting.
It's kind of just like a bummer, just because it was such a good game, and then for it to like end with
a good
penalty, and then the Chiefs kneeing it like 3 times, and then just the field goal. It didn't feel. And then also the Hail Mary by Hurts was kind of. I think he said he slipped. I know, like before he threw because he got like 20 yards.
I think he did slip.
He did, but I was just saying it just left me like feeling a little unfulfilled.
I think his shoulder's a little bit hurt. I feel like that's also playing into it a little bit.
I don't know how long
he said his plant foot slipped when he went to throw, and it just the ball turned.
I'm not surprised his plant foot slipped, but
yeah.
So last thing before we go into break, I just want to talk about actually.
What you want to talk about? Like
what would you rank Jalen Hurts after that amazing game?
We're having the QB's rankings.
Yes. Would you have him top 5?
I'll tell you. I have the only person I have him Patrick Mahomes. I'm going to tell you the people above him for me. Patrick Mahomes, and maybe and Joe Burrow, and I think that's probably it. I don't think there's any after what we saw this season. I'm not putting Herbert above him.
I'm not putting Josh Allen.
I'm not putting Tua. I'm not putting Lamar. I think Lamar. We're still waiting for that next step from Lamar. Like we're waiting for Lamar to do what Jalen Hurts just did.
Yeah, Lamar's of course he has a good arm. He can run. I like what he brings to the table, but he hasn't really progressed the same way. Time out.
I think Lamar is still better than Jalen Hurts. Like I think the team Lamar's on.
Okay, wait.
The teams Lamar's on.
It's not.
I
was going to say to the point like Lamar's team's not built. I mean, it's built around him for him. Like, but I'm saying it's not as good as the Eagles. But
literally
nowhere
built
close
for him.
Yeah, but I'm saying like they're
built from in what way though?
They have
his O line. He doesn't have receivers, but
doesn't have receivers or running backs.
You know why the receivers don't want to go there? It's because no one wants to play with. No, I don't say no one wants to play Lamar, but it's the system. It's the system.
Like they have
Marquise Brown was driven out of there. No one wants to go to
Hollywood Brown, the man who can't catch it when it comes.
No one wants to go to Baltimore because of that system.
No, they're bringing in bad talent consistently.
There's a reason they fired their offensive coordinator. No one wants to play for them, and it's because of that scheme. And they fired their offensive coordinator for that reason to try to convince Lamar to stay.
I'm gonna say one thing before we go to
Hollywood
break.
Brown is not a real receiver. Like he's just
what? Are you kidding me?
He can't catch.
I mean, like
he can't
just
catch
saying,
the ball well.
Okay,
that was, but like to Connor's point, that was the only weapon they had, and they still traded him.
Mark Andrews.
Obviously,
J.K. Dobbins.
But that's about it. I mean,
J.K. Dobbins, I feel like has been on the IR. Like
I just want to say something. The reason I'm not putting Lamar Jackson over Jalen Hurts.
But I'm not putting Lamar. I'm with you. I'm not putting.
One is I think Jalen Hurts has better arm talent, and he's been able to progress like that.
Yeah.
Second thing, the best ability.
Availability.
Is availability.
That is true.
He has not been. Tyler Huntley had to come in 2 years in a row for the second half of the season because he can't stay healthy.
Yeah, it's that's why. And plus, like I said, Lamar hasn't shown us what Jaylon just showed us. So I'm taking Jaylon. I don't think there's any. I think you can say he's probably like a top 3 quarterback. Like
Jalen.
Yeah, I don't think.
I'm gonna say mine because
there's more talented quarterbacks, but they haven't accomplished what he's already done.
I kind of agree with you. I think Jalen Hurts is just a winner.
Yeah,
he's been a winner all his life.
It was one good. It was one winning season.
Okay.
Like,
I don't want
to dub him. I don't want to dub him a winner as like.
I just don't get that. But the conversation is like, okay, we take a look at him. So he got drafted. He was a rookie. He got drafted. Didn't play till like the last 4 games of the season. During that time, they were in. I think they went 2-2. But Dougie P took him out of 1 game, and then that last one they subbed him in like in the 3rd quarter. There's no way he could come back, but he came back against the Packers. I think it was just like a 1-score game, but the Packers still won. We
were down by I think 14.
Yeah, and then we came back and almost won. But then but we put Jalen Hurts too late, so it's not his fault. But we should have won that game. You saw how the game changed once he put in. Second game, Saints, we beat them. That was an upset. That's like when all the highlights came out of him breaking that defender's ankles and everything.
And then we went to the Arizona where he had like 400 yards passing.
And then we lost to
and then
the Giants,
we benched him
against the Commanders, Washington. I think. But then like you look at that, you see how he just instantly changed that team. The second year, we make the playoffs. New head coach, rookie head coach. We make the playoffs. We get blown out, and that's fine by Tampa. But we ended up winning the Super Bowl. Jalen Hurts still played hurt and still like was still out there like at least like balling like for us like what we expected. And then this year, just MVP, like second runner up to MVP, and like almost won the Super Bowl. I feel like I think you have to
after a 9-8 season and 1 run to the Super Bowl. I'm just not ready to give him the name of like a certified winner.
We will hold up because we got to get to break, but we will talk about more when we return. This is 90.7 The Capstone. We will be right back.
WVUA-FM, Tuscaloosa.
Welcome back to the student section. This is Connor Rolls, and we are going to continue our little discussion about Jalen Hurts and where he should be ranked in the top 5. So, Brady, you were saying something.
I don't know if Lamar Jackson is, or I don't know if Jalen Hurts is better than Lamar Jackson. Is what I was saying. I don't know.
Are you saying from? I want to know if you just are because obviously Lamar is more talented, but are you trying to say that he's just overall more talented, or you just don't think he's
better? I don't know which one's better because I think Jalen Hurts obviously had a better season this year, but I think Jalen Hurts is also on the most talented team in the NFL.
Okay. You're just like the media who hates on Jalen Hurts.
I'm not hating on him.
Honestly, you are because he's a top 2 quarterback in the NFL. He's better than Joe Burrow. He's better than any of these.
I'm not gonna put.
I can't control the situation he's in, but
you can't control how good he does though. Apparently,
he is doing well. He's doing very well. His team is very good as well. Those are 2 things that are true. He's playing very well, and his team is doing very well. And I am not convinced that if you trade Jalen Hurts for Lamar Jackson, that the Eagles would be worse.
I am very convinced.
And I will tell you why. Because this is, as an Eagles fan, Jalen Hurts brings
so much more than just him on the field.
It's an energy, a discipline, a work ethic that the whole rest of the team follows.
I think Lamar Jackson can bring the same thing.
I don't think so.
Not at all.
You heard the things coming out of the Ravens locker room?
Recently, I think this last year's been hard because of the contract thing. I think that is true.
I think it's before that.
You're thinking about contract, right? Jalen Hurts says he would take a pay cut to win. I don't think Lamar's up to that. That's why he hasn't been able to sign a contract.
It's a small thing.
Well, I think with Lamar Jackson, you can't blame Lamar for wanting a contract.
You can't blame Lamar, but you can't fault Jalen Hurts.
I'm not faulting Jalen Hurts.
You're not. But I'm just saying you can see, there's a difference between 2. We're not blaming obviously we all hope Lamar gets his money and it's well deserved, and he should get his money. Yeah. But I'm just saying that. But we also hope the same thing for Jalen Hurts. But there's a difference, you notice, like because Jalen Hurts is openly saying, "I know how much I'm worth, but I'm willing to take less because I want this team to continue to be good."
I get that, and I'm still not convinced.
Do you get it though?
No, I do. I understand the energy that brings, and I really do. I think Lamar had a bad year because of the contract. I don't think the Ravens have any talent around him for him to produce on offense. It's Mark Andrews, and I think Mark Andrews gets overrated a little bit because of how well of a fantasy player he is. I don't think he's actually that great. Because he's like the second best tight end in fantasy, people for some reason think that he's like some great pass catcher.
I wonder why he's second best.
It's because of that.
It's because he's the only receiver on the Ravens. That's why. He's not He's not anywhere close to Travis Kelce. People like to say they're the two tight ends, but they're not in the conversation at all.
So what quarterbacks are you taking before Hurts? That's what I wanted to know.
I am taking for sure Patrick Mahomes and Joe Burrow.
Right. Okay, I can agree with that.
Joe Burrow's debatable, but yeah.
No doubt in my mind, I am taking those two over.
That's about it, though.
I would say Josh Allen is in the
top.
Oh my goodness! I'm saying that because I don't know the second half of the season how healthy Josh Allen's shoulder was.
Well,
I don't know.
What about Jalen Hurts? Jalen Hurts literally stopped playing.
I know. I'm just saying Josh Allen from the first half of the season and last year was better than Jalen Hurts.
No.
He was until that shoulder thing, and then in the second half of the season into the playoffs, he was much worse than Jalen Hurts. But going into next year, if his shoulder is healthy and he's back to where he was, I'm probably going with Josh Allen.
But Josh Allen has gone to the AFC Championship, 2 times or two, or then he just it was one time and then he was almost 2, but he lost.
Wait, did he? I don't even know if he's been to one.
He's been to one.
He played
the Chiefs.
Yeah. Was that?
Last year was the
2 years ago. It was
2 years ago.
But
was that? Because I couldn't remember if that was
2 years ago. We got Chiefs Bills, and that's when they came back with 13 seconds for the field goal.
I didn't know if that was the divisional round.
No, that was the AFC Championship because the next year was Bengals Chiefs.
But I'm just saying
No, because Bengals Bills. Oh, crap. But Chiefs Bengals, right? That was the AFC Championship game. The divisional game was to get to the AFC Championship game. It was a divisional round because I remember I was sitting in the dining hall watching the game on my phone. He's never been to an AFC Championship game, which he has the talent around him. I mean, I think Stephon Diggs is a pretty good player.
2020, he was at the championship. He was at the conference championship game.
He was?
Yep, they beat the Colts in the wild card, beat Baltimore in the divisional round, and then lost the Chiefs in the AFC championship game.
Maybe he was. Okay.
So he was there.
One time. He's what?
And then last year he lost to the Chiefs in overtime, who I think it was a coin toss between them and the Bengals to make the Super Bowl, and I think it's still a great game.
I think Brian Dable was a big part of Josh Allen's game because you look at it when he was with them, not a lot of turnovers. He made the right decisions. He didn't try to push the ball downfield, and he was a great quarterback. This year, without Brian Dable,
that's what I'm saying.
He was throwing picks left and right.
It's his decision
poor
making.
Competition.
It's not even that he was healthy; it's his decision making.
His decision making.
That's in the second half. The second half. I think before his shoulder injury, Josh Allen was really, really good.
The Dolphins game early in the season, we saw him make critical mistakes in that
game.
And he wasn't. That's early in the season. I don't think the injury comes in the.
What's killing me right now is
I see where you're coming from, but that's just my opinion. I just don't think.
I'm not saying he's bad. I'm saying I don't know because I don't know what Josh Allen I'm going to be getting next year.
That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
No, but I'm saying there is I would say 50-50 chance that when we come back next year, Josh Allen is better than Jalen Hurts.
I don't agree, but all right. Let's move
Josh Allen, I think if his shoulder is healthy and he's playing like he was last year, and for a stretch this year before shoulder injury, he was playing better than Jalen Hurts.
I don't think so, but okay.
We'll see next year. We'll all find out. We'll revisit this one in the future. But is there any other quarterbacks you like? Are you putting Justin Herbert? Are you putting?
I think Hurts is better than Herbert. I got kind of sick of Herbert at the end of the year.
Yeah.
There are certain things that Herbert.
He always goes for the deep ball.
I feel like he goes to the deep ball a lot, and I feel like they get put in situations of 3rd and long that I'm not always sure if it's Herbert or if it's the offensive coordinator. So next year with the new offensive coordinator, if those things continue, then for sure. But right now, I would say Jalen Hurts over Herbert.
So he was probably going to still be in your top 5, though.
Yeah, he's still in my top 5.
Okay, which is all we're all arguing.
Okay.
So we're all
because the only 2 consensus ones that I like, not even thinking, is Mahomes and Burrow.
I don't think Herbert's top 5. I don't.
I mean, I'm not. That wasn't a discussion I was going to get into, but I don't want to do that right now.
Yeah, let's move on. So I kind of want to talk about Eagles' future. There's a lot of free agents this year. I think Howie Roseman will do his thing, but
can I bring up some of the free agents that might not come back?
Go ahead.
So some of the names that might not be or questionable are Javon Hargrave, which is a big part of the Eagles' defense. Obviously, Jason Kelsey, he may retire, he may not. I think Avonte Maddox has an option, so I think he might be back. I'm not really for sure.
I'm pretty sure he'll be back.
I would think so too, especially with that position. James Bradbury, he's already said he's open to staying, but he's not going to be cheap.
Yeah.
So that makes me think he's not going to be back. Miles Sanders is the big question mark. I think he's not going to be back.
Brandon Graham is also a free agent.
Oh, is he really? I thought he had one more year left. But yeah,
well, he might be a free agent looking to retire, maybe retiring, or he is actually a free agent.
Right, and Fletcher Cox is another name. We reconstructed his contract so for 1 year deal this year. It's like 1 year, $20 million deal. So I think he's
gone.
Yeah, I think so as well.
But so I want to talk about Miles Sanders for a second. He had a really rough Super Bowl. We can all agree with that.
Past 3 games leading up to the Super Bowl, he had a rough.
I think he had good playoff games for sure.
I think
Kenny Gainwell.
He finished it, but Kenny Gainwell did all the work.
Yeah. So.
And plus, as you saw, when we started getting Kenny Gainwell more involved, you saw how this offense started to morph again, like towards later in the season. When we started playing Kenny Gainwell more, we started using like passes with the running back.
Oh, for sure.
And like that's why I think Miles Sanders won't be back, because he's just not one of those running backs.
But so for Miles Sanders, what I have a prediction, because we have 2 first-round picks.
Right.
But I don't think we're going to draft the running back in the first round.
I don't either. It's just
so I think we're going to go. I think corner, because I think we're going to lose Bradbury. I think we're going to go the Oregon corner.
I think we're going to get Joey Porter, but keep going.
There's a possibility, most likely, we're going to get a defensive lineman at the end.
It's either going to be a D tackle or an end.
Yeah, but I think we're going to go Jahmyr Gibbs.
Really?
I have a feeling, the Alabama
connection.
Yeah. I think he's a great receiver running back, which we love.
Yeah. And
so
speed. Yeah.
I really think that Jahmyr Gibbs will be on our team this year.
I think he would fit well with the Eagles.
Yeah.
I think we're for the defensive line. I think we're going to go either Miles Murphy or Brian Brees or Bryce. How you saying these? Brian Bryce Brees?
No, I'm not quite sure.
But out of Clemson, he hasn't. Long story. I know he's had a rough year. Sorry what happened to his sister, but I think he would be a good fit for the Eagles as well.
Yeah. But
I don't think Miles Sanders is coming back. I would like for the Eagles to go for Bijan Robinson, but I just like you said, it's too early.
No, we're not going to draft the running back in the first round.
He might be a top 10 pick. But if he lowers down the draft, would you consider that? Because I think he's just that talented.
Not first round.
I think he's going to be I think he's a franchise player.
I think we have way more needs than running back.
We do.
With Gainwell and Boston Scott still under contract. So I say we go for our DBs, because that was it's still not even I don't know. The Super Bowl was just weird.
It was.
But speaking of our defense and how badly performed, Jonathan Gannon is gone. Hallelujah.
Yep, Jonathan Gannon is now going to the Arizona Cardinals, which is
fun. Sounds like it's against his will.
Exactly. If you saw the games before that, Jonathan Gannon was like, "There's no way I'm leaving Philadelphia." And then they asked him at the Arizona press conference. They were like, "So when did you know you were going to be the coach?" He was like, "Right after the Super Bowl. They told me I wasn't coming back."
He got forced out.
Yeah. So
thank God he's gone.
But also that it brings up another conversation, because it's not just our players, like you said. It's our offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, and Arizona just released their defensive coordinator, and that is the hot name on the market for the Eagles' defensive coordinator. So it sounds like we're just
honestly, trading. I think we're going to get him. I'm a little upset with Shane Steichen being on. But who's I think it was a quarterback
Johnson?
Coach. Yeah,
Brian Johnson.
He apparently Jalen Hurts loves him. Everyone loves him.
He's supposed to be the top name for the Panthers coordinator job, but they just hired the Rams.
So I think he's going to be offensive. I think we're just going to stay in house for offensive coordinator. But yeah.
But it's interesting.
Anything, Brady?
I have nothing to add.
For the Eagles, yeah.
Of the Eagles, I love listening to you guys talk about all this, but I sadly do not have as in-depth of analysis on the Eagles' off-season moves.
No, I understand that. It's just Eagles fans,
Yeah.
But one question I wanted to ask you is, there's, like we talked about, Jalen Hurts is maybe talking about taking a pay cut, but also there's also been rumors of him getting the Pat Mahomes deal, so 10 years.
No, he's. Well, actually,
he could spread the money out.
I wouldn't be against it, but at the same time, 10 years is a long time.
So that's a real commitment.
Yeah,
it depends on guaranteed, obviously.
Right.
Yeah,
like all these football contracts, usually they're only worth what they're guaranteed.
Yeah,
I'm not against. I mean, it's difficult because 10 years is a long time. You never know what's going to happen to a player. you could do the same thing because Carson Wentz looked like the guy, and we signed him to a big deal, and then fell off the face of the planet.
That's actually the next thing I wanted to get into, just real quick before we move on. We're in the same exact situation that caused all this. We're coming off a Super Bowl just a little bit, and I know it wasn't exactly right after, but we lost both our coordinators. We're debating giving our quarterback what type of extension. So looks like it's going to be interesting. So who knows?
I mean, your star quarterback did play in your Super Bowl this year, and he played well. So
I
would have a little more faith in Jalen Hurts than Carson Wentz.
I absolutely do.
All right, so we're going to take a quick little break, and when we get back, we're going to talk about the first half of the NBA season. We will be right back.
WVUA-FM, Tuscaloosa.
All right, hello. Welcome back to the student section. This is Connor Rolls, and we're going to talk about the first half of the NBA season and what our thoughts are so far about this. Anyone want to go first?
I'm going to talk about, not to keep being that Philly fan, but let's talk about the start of the Sixers just real quick. Started off terrible start. Now, and it looks like Joel Embiid wasn't even in shape, wasn't healthy, just conditioning himself, and just terrible start. Then Maxey goes down. New additions, they're trying to figure it out. But now, if you look at it now, they're I think they're the second seed now.
They got past. They're the 3 seed, but they're only 2 games back.
Okay, so they're the third seed now. But I'm just saying,
2.5.
Joel Embiid's tied with Luka Doncic for the league average in scoring.
Is he tied or is he? I think he might have the.
I think
he might be one.
I think he was one, and then I think they tied it. I don't know.
Luka's got 0.2 points more than Joel.
So I think Luka's. So now he's. Well, thank you for telling me. So now he's second, but and also I think he's going to be second for MVP because Jokic as a center is averaging a triple-double, which is crazy.
I think voter fatigue is going to be a real thing. I don't think he's going to get the MVP.
But I don't think I agree with you on that. But here's the thing: it's never been done before by a center, and I think that's what's going to keep this. I think next year we're going to see it. I think he's going to be the first player since Larry Bird to win 3.
I think there's also the stat that Jokic has shot under 50% from the field once this season. Is that's kind of an insane efficiency.
It's impressive, but it's
what do you mean?
Is it really
under 50% once in the entire season? That means that
you want me to give him a star or a trophy or a
every
cookie?
Single game but one game you shot the ball at an incredibly efficient mark.
It's impressive.
It's kind of historic.
It's incredible,
but it's really.
Yeah, but that's probably but it is because it's his third year.
I saw the list of guys who have done this with streaks of shooting 50%, and it was Rudy Gobert and Robert Williams, guys who shoot the ball from a foot away from the hoop and just dunk it. Rudy Nikola Jokic is doing this, but back to the basket 10 feet away, consistently hitting his fadeaways. He's it's kind of insane what he's doing. I think voter fatigue was a thing for a while. But I think kind of what
if it's going to be voter fatigue for LeBron, there's going to be voter fatigue for
I've noticed in the media, people are very much so lightening up to the idea of voting Jokic for a third time. And also, they're the 1 seed in the West.
He's averaging a triple-double.
Not for long.
As a center. I don't think that's going to – I think he might do it.
I mean, listen, so he's shooting 63% from the floor, 39% from 3, 82% from the free throw line. He's putting up 25 points, 10 assists, and 11.5 rebounds. And they're the 1 seed in the West.
That's cool and all. That's really cute.
Stat line.
That's cute.
An absurd stat line.
They also use him as a point to bring in run plays. I just think it's so crazy, him as a player. But
he's almost at a 3 assist to turnover ratio this season too.
So I think for the first half of the season, my 2 things to keep an eye on are the Sixers, just the way they turn things around, and then the Denver Nuggets out west. I mean, of course, the big trades that we talked about, now later in the season.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely want to keep eyes on the Suns. Another team that's actually really starting to put it together now that they're starting to be healthy are the Clippers.
So, I was going to say the Lakers. I think the Lakers are really scary with their trade.
I wouldn't say scary.
I would say scary.
I think they have a lot more depth, and I think I'm curious to see about there's a lot of rumors going around Anthony Davis. And
there is
that he's unhappy, that LeBron's camp's unhappy with him, that he's pouting. So that's an interesting thing to note. So I think you might hear some trade rumors this offseason. I wouldn't be surprised if Lakers traded Anthony Davis for Zach LaVine this offseason.
I remember those 2 big things. There was the night LeBron took the scoring title. There's the video of Anthony Davis sitting on the bench, not moving. And that same night, from when LeBron was mic'd up, there's a clip of LeBron goes up to AD and hugs him and says, "I love you, man." and AD kind of just like sits there and doesn't say anything back to
That's
LeBron.
that's
And then like just
so
like
weird.
watching, I was like, that's not what like you say to like
That's not what
your
was going
friend
on
who, like, you're
the first
hooping with.
couple seasons.
like
That's
like
almost-
yeah, exactly. Like your guy comes up to you and you says that you're like, I love you too, bro. Let's go hoop. Like let's go get this one for you. Like let's go get the scoring. Like something like that. Like it's
Yeah.
before LeBron's game for the scoring title, and LeBron comes up to you and says he loves you, and he sits there and says nothing, and that just. Like I think that's at the because people were saying like after he passed the title, AD's sitting there, but that video from before I think shows that AD was already like not really happy. I think what I think is he was upset that there was so much emphasis on LeBron passing the scoring title and all this stuff, and not about winning.
Yeah.
And I think he probably felt even that LeBron this season was his season where he was going to break the scoring record, and that was what was going to happen this season. And to Anthony Davis, he wants to win still.
Yeah.
So I agree with that, but I think AD, I've never liked Anthony Davis. I think he was always
Person or a good player?
kind of both. I feel like he was really like he's the one that really only cares about. I don't want to say himself, but I mean through the years,
I wouldn't say that.
Well, when
He would-
walked out on the Pelicans.
when he walked out of the
that's
Pelicans,
kinda
yeah,
where I was like, okay, this is kind of like
he walked out of the Pelicans. He was fine with doing it. He wasn't like
yeah.
worried about, oh man, I didn't ruin all these
Hurts when you
careers.
do that.
It was like whatever. He gets to LA and it's all lovey-dovey, honeymoon phase with
That's what he
LeBron.
wants, yeah.
But then when going gets tough and he gets injured every time he steps on the court, he's all pouty now. And it's you got to be there for your team. You can't do all this and we got to win when you can't be on the floor. Anytime you step on the floor, you're gonna hurt yourself.
It is kind of hypocritical in a way, but I
think
agree with you.
It's just a lot of building frustration. I think like the Russell Westbrook stuff.
I think that was.
I think that was. I bet that's probably part of it. He's upset with management.
I think that D'Angelo
Like, I-
Russell trade is going to be huge for him.
That's what I agree. I think so too.
We'll keep going, Brady.
I was just gonna say. I just think that AD just had some like building, like resentment for management. I think the Russell Westbrook move is the fact that the way it was portrayed to the media was that LeBron kind of orchestrated Westbrook getting there. I can imagine that kind of made like a little bit of
he
divide. LeBron tries to like backtrack that I think a little now, but I think it's safe to say that like Russell Westbrook doesn't get there without LeBron like okaying that trade.
Yeah,
And like LeBron okayed that. And I think AD probably knows that. Like AD knows that like LeBron was the one who got Russ there, and then that blows up.
I think they had a meeting together as LeBron and AD.
So
But I see.
I've always seen it as LeBron brought in Russ.
the reason I think
not-
LeBron brought in Russ is because before the trade even broke,
it's DeMar DeRozan, right?
no, it was the Buddy Hield trade.
Oh, true. Yeah.
There was it was going to the
Miles Turner and
the Kings
Mhm.
or Buddy Hield.
for no.
Not Miles Turner.
It was going to the Kings for Buddy because that's when Buddy Hield was still on the Kings.
Yeah.
But they made the trade package, and Woj announced it, Shams announced it, everyone announced it like this was some big trade, and then all of a sudden this is not happening. They're going to Washington for Russell Westbrook, and that just tells me that Rob Pelinka made a deal with the Sacramento Kings, and LeBron stepped in and was like, I don't really think this is good for my team. I think Russell Westbrook can bring a lot to the table. And they talked it out, and then, that brought it in. And I think there was a point where Rob Pelinka, this offseason, he brought it upon himself to actually make some moves because we know LeBron kind of wants to play with his friends. That's been, D Wade bringing him into Cleveland, a bunch of stuff like that. I think at this point, Rob Pelinka was like, I'm enough with your little shenanigans. I get you're one of the greatest players ever, but you're not a GM. Let me do my job, and I think they did a really good job.
Yeah, I think he cleaned up around this deadline.
I think so too. I
mean, I think they got incredibly high value for what they gave up. I still don't think they make the playoffs. I don't think they're a playoff team. So, I mean, cool. You got good value. You still gave up a pick for a season where you're not going to make the playoffs, I don't think. So, you got value for you good, but in my eyes, it would have made more sense just to eat the Russell Westbrook contract and kind of accept that you're kind of done.
Speaking of Russell Westbrook, where do you guys want to see him? Like, what team now? Because there's reports that he might go to Clippers or Miami. I think there's another team that I'm forgetting.
I think Washington was talking to him too, but
Okay.
I do think he's going to the Clippers
You think? Yeah.
because I think he wants to rub it into
LA.
the Lakers' face.
Paul
George and Russell Westbrook, were pretty close. I think there's a really, I want to say 75% chance that Russell Westbrook goes to Clippers.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
I would be really surprised if the Clippers brought him in.
Really?
After that Bones Highlands trade, because I was watching the game last night.
They don't have any playmakers.
That's what I was saying. Like watching Bones Highlands, I think he's just a scorer. But like even when Russell Westbrook, I was trying to picture Russell Westbrook out there with the same players. They had such good ball movement, and I don't know if Russ is going to do that.
I know Russell Westbrook. It's hard for him.
I think they brought in Eric Gordon to play that bench guard, like the guard off the bench. I think that fits way better what they want. I think that they trust Terrence Mann to be their starting point guard. I think that's what they made. I think what I didn't realize when they made these moves, which I kind of silly of me not to realize that they were opening up minutes for Terrence Mann to get more minutes. And I definitely looked over that when I looked over these trades.
Inside the NBA was having a legit conversation. Would you take Terrence Mann or Tyrese Maxey? So I'm not. We can all have our opinions on that. But that's
wild to me because I would easily take.
I can acknowledge that. I definitely overlooked that.
Those players, those ex Hall of Fame players. That's all. That just goes to show how much Terrence Mann means.
Like when I evaluated these trades, I didn't realize that how important getting Terrence Mann more minutes was because these last 3 games where he's been balling. He's been balling so hard. So the fact that Terrence Mann, I think I would be confident in being my point guard, and then you got Bones Highland and Eric Gordon to kind of play on the bench. Bones kind of. Not the best playmaker, but Aaron Gordon, a guy who really knows his role.
But he seemed bought in. He was moving that ball around.
Bones looked, I thought, better with the Clippers than he did with.
I agree. I think Bones is going to be good for like that little hot spark off the bench. But I knew Terrence Mann was a great player ever since that playoff run when the Clippers went to the Western Conference Finals.
We just hit all those threes.
Where he was hit all the threes. He was clutch. He did all that. He did everything that was needed to be done.
I definitely overlooked how important it was for them to get him into that kind of like high 30s minutes per game.
One thing I wanted to revisit, because early in the season I think I was all alone saying the Kings making the playoffs. So now that we're here at this point going to All-Star, what are you guys thinking? How are you guys feeling? Anybody want to
I did not see De'Aaron Fox being like one of the most like greatest clutch players of all time coming.
Yeah.
I did not see that coming at all.
Yeah, not just that, you got the shooting from Kevin Huerter.
Keegan Murray's been...
Yeah, Keegan Murray's a nice pick.
Huerter's been a little rough recently.
Well, yeah, he's having a stretch, but like...
Keegan Murray
starting the season, though.
Yeah.
He was looking like Klay Thompson.
Keegan Murray is looking like a steal.
The month of January, shot the ball 50% from 3.
That's crazy. That's
he's already a certified shooter.
Yeah, I'm surprised he wasn't in the three-point contest.
Now, recently the Kings are having a little bit of a slide, and now I think they're like 6 games away from the play-in, or I could be wrong.
They're the 3 seed.
They're the 3 seed, but I think they're like 6 games from being in the play-in, or maybe it's real close.
Let's see. So they're 8 games behind Denver, and then the Pelicans are 11 games. 3 games.
It's like
3 games?
Yep.
3 games. Yeah.
3.5.
Yeah. So there's a chance that they might fall out, but where do you guys keeping the faith of the Kings?
In the West, I would say none of those teams are like. I would say 2 through like 10 are like guaranteed to not be in the play-in. Just because like you go on a hot stretch, you go on a cold stretch. I think it's
2 through 10.
What about Blazers? Dame's
2
been
through
balling.
10.
What about?
I mean, I think the problem with Blazers, Dame in the past month has been playing some of the best basketball of his life, and they're still not getting better in like the wins column. So I find it hard to believe that there's something that could happen for them to move into that.
I think the Lakers are going to make it.
I do too.
I think so. So
the play-in or the playoffs?
Playing. But
not the playoffs then. You're saying not the playoffs, or
what are we counting?
I think they're going to make the playoffs through the play-in.
Okay.
But I think the Thunder are going to fall out. I think the Warriors will. Well, I think the Warriors will make a run or something.
I'll say OKC will fall out too, not because of how talented they are, because they have a lot of talent, but just experience. I just think it comes down to experience.
I don't think OKC.
Pelicans worry me.
I don't think OKC is going to fall out. The Pelicans,
Zion,
he
can't stay healthy.
And the Zion thing, Zion could. I think the Pelicans are going to drop. I believe.
Yeah.
And I think the Timberwolves and the Warriors will move into the 7-8. And I like OKC a little more than the Lakers. If OKC puts out their best players, which they don't always do.
Yeah.
Which is frustrating. But I think OKC this year, the fact that they're like where they are. And like where they're above a lottery team, and they have all. I don't think that they. I really hope they don't bench Shea and like shut him down, because like the last 2 years, Shea I feel like has played like a total of 10 games after the All-Star break because they kind of just like shut him down.
I really don't understand why.
I mean, it's for tanking. They want the better pick, and they don't want Shea to get hurt, so they kind of just like shut him down. So I really hope this year that doesn't happen, and they kind of just let this team compete for the play-in and like get some experience there, because I think this team, I would pick them over the Lakers in a one game. If OKC's at home in one game, I would pick OKC to win that game.
I don't think I would.
I think Shea is is that good, and I trust him in clutch. I trust him in those clutch scenarios. I think Shai would ball out.
I like SGA a lot, but before we get out of here and wrap things up, Warriors, you guys think they're going to make it? They're injured right now. Steph Curry's out.
Yeah, I think they're going to make it.
Even with
I think there's just so much experience.
Okay, all right, that's a hot top. To me, I'm going to go on a hot take. I don't think they're going to
make the play-in or playoffs.
They might make the play-in. I don't think they're going to make the playoffs. Yeah,
I think it depends what this Curry injury, like how long it lingers for.
And that's why
I don't think they can really live without him for that long, and this injury seems very vague, and normally vague injuries last longer than expected. So that's just the only thing with the Warriors that makes me concerned.
So we are about done here, but I have one thing I want to say. There was one thing I called in the beginning of the year. When the Sixers were looking really rough, I was like, why can't we? Why can't we pull a Boston Celtics, start winning a bunch of games, and run up to the top of the East? We have.
It wasn't a boss. Don't even compare.
And I'm proud of myself. And we will catch y'all next week on 90.7 The Capstone. We are logging out.
WVUA-FM, Tuscaloosa.